Alright, what is going on YouTube? Got another video here at my Crown Vic, and I'm going to be talking about why I think these are one of the greatest cars ever made, period. Now, sure, that's going to be very debatable. You know, some people say that these are far from the greatest cars ever made. You know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but for me, I believe that these are one of the best cars ever made. You know, end of story. Don't get me wrong, I love a lot of cars, and there's a lot of great cars out there. It's not like I just like Crown Vics or just the Panthers in general. You know, I'm a car person myself. You know, I love everything. I love anything with a motor, pretty much. I like trucks, boats, cars. I like vans. I mean, you name it, I like it. If it's got a motor on it, I'm into it. Planes. But, speaking from a car aspect, I'd say this is one of the greatest cars ever made, period. And there's a few reasons for that. I'd say one of the reasons is going to be just the overall durability of this car. You're really going to be hard-pressed trying to find another car that's as durable as a Crown Vic, or even just really a Panther in general. Mainly the Police Interceptors. These are more durable than, like, you know, your other Panthers, but you know, just you know, Crown Vic, Panther, whatever. I mean, whatever, you know, Panther you're talking about. You know, I'm gonna specify just for mine, the Police Interceptors. They got to be one of the most durable cars you can really buy. Maybe they're not as durable as a truck. Maybe you could take a little bit or more abuse in a truck, or, you know, something like that. But I mean, these essentially are kind of like a truck, just on a car, just a, you know, car body, pretty much. You know, obviously don't have four-wheel drive, but I mean, if you were to actually pull this like next to like a two-wheel drive, like F-150, they're honestly almost like the same length. I mean, the F-150 is a little bit longer, but I mean, they're essentially a truck, really. They have the same components as the F-150. The F-150, you could get the 4.6. It's got an 8.8 rear, body on frame. I mean, they essentially are the same kind of thing. Obviously, this is going to have you know, less ground clearance, things like that, but overall durability, I mean, they're just, you really can't beat the durability of a Crown Vic. You can't. I say that a very close second is going to be the old Chevy Caprices, like the 9C1s, back in like the 90s, like, well, even the later 80s, like they had the box style Caprices, like the 85 6s. They're like real boxy looking. And then you have like I believe they call it the bubble years. They're like 93. I forget the years of the Caprices, like 95, something like that. But yeah, you have those too. And those are very durable cars, those Caprices. Back in the day, that was like this main competitor's car. I mean, obviously this style wasn't out yet, but the Crown Vic was out, and Ford and Chevy were really duking it out back in the, you know, earlier 90s. You know, for who had the best cop car. Now with the Caprice, the Caprice was actually faster than the Crown Vic, but the Crown Vics, you know, they had better handling. They tend to brake a little bit better too, especially the newer style ones. Like if I were to race a Caprice, it'd probably beat me on a straightaway. To be quite honest with you, it probably would beat me. But when it comes to like braking and handling and everything else, even just comfort, doesn't, you know, the Caprice doesn't really stand a chance against this. That's why I'll break that Caprice any day. But yeah, that's the only real competitor I can see durability wise. Now durability and reliability is different. Okay, I'll get into reliability in a second, but I mean actual durability, just how rugged it is. I mean, I'm talking about taking it down dirt roads and beating on it and things like that. You're really not going to find a car that's more durable than this. Besides, like I said, maybe the Caprice. I'd say they're probably like neck and neck. Now reliability wise, I would say these are probably one of the most reliable cars you can get. Now there are cars that obviously are as reliable, or you can even say even more reliable, because there are cars, you know, that don't really have any issues at all. You know, there's older Camrys that they, you know, like these for example, these have a problem with the intake manifold, as you know, a lot of the old Camrys or even old Accords, they didn't really have any known issues really that I know of. I mean, they're generally pretty hard. They go for 300,000 miles and then they tend to rust out before anything really breaks on them. But so reliability wise, these are pretty reliable. Like I said, they're up there with the top dogs. Maybe they're not the most reliable because they do have their issues, especially the police interceptors, because, well, let's be honest, they get abused. So you are gonna have to, deal with things on it. But generally, these cars are very reliable. So those two things, I'd say, put it up with one of the best cars ever. Now another, making a video. Yeah. Oh. Couldn't find anywhere else to go, so I came here. But now another thing that might be questionable on this would be the looks. Me personally, I think they look great. Like, I don't know, it's like right there, that shot right there. They just look so, I don't know, they just look so like sleek to me. But looks are subjective. Some people are going to say they look like trash. Some people are going to say it's the best looking car ever. Me personally, I do believe it's a great looking car. So that's another reason why I think these are one of the best cars ever made. Like I said before, looks are subjective, so you're gonna have people that completely disagree with you, but I don't know, I think in the overall grand scheme of it, they really look great. These really do look I don't know, they look great to me. Such a nice, aggressive look, especially when you do them all up with like the tint, push bumper, maybe not even necessarily a spotlight. I mean, the spotlight makes it look nicer in my opinion, but definitely the push bumper and the tints make it look really aggressive. So that's another thing. And another reason why I'd say these are probably one of the best cars you can get is honestly the price. You really can't get a car with a V8 rear-wheel drive, and it's somewhat fast. I mean, it's not really that fast, honestly. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say this car's really quick, because in reality, it's not. It's decent. It's fast enough to get you in trouble. That's what to say that. It's fast enough to get you in trouble. I've raced a couple people. I've won. I actually haven't lost a race yet, but I raced people in slow cars, so it doesn't really count as racing. I mean, just the price of them. You can get these things dirt cheap, and you can get them at low mileage. They're just such a great car. You really can't beat this car in the overall, grand scheme of things. Sure, maybe they're not the fastest. Well, it's not maybe. They are not the fastest car out there. There are plenty of cars that are faster. You could probably buy a brand new, Kia Soul. I guarantee a brand new Kia Soul is probably as fast as this. It might even be faster, quite honestly. So, maybe they're not that fast, but they're fast enough, at least for me. Reliability, sure, like I said, they are reliable, but they do have their common issues. Maybe there are cars that are a little bit more reliable. And, durability, I'd say durability, you're not going to beat durability. There's really no cars that are better durability than these. So that, I would say, this is the king, absolutely, durability. But just the overall, if you were to just tally everything up, put all the points together, I'd say this ranked pretty high. You're really not going to be able to beat it. I mean, just the comfort. I mean, I took this on that's actually why I'm kind of making this video, because I just took it on a trip. I drove all the way to Trenton, okay, which is like an hour there. And that was like 60 miles, I believe, from my house. So I forget how far Trenton was, but whatever. I drove to Trenton, then I drove all the way to Point Pleasant from Trenton, or Bricktown, sorry. And then after Bricktown, I drove all the way up north. I picked my friend up in Bricktown. He was looking at a Jeep up in Mahwah, I believe it was, New Jersey. So we went all the way up north to Mahwah, New Jersey. That was like an hour-and-a-half drive. So drove up there, then I drove all the way back to Bricktown from, you know, obviously Mahwah, which is another hour and a half, so that's 3 hours there. And then I drove back home, and I live in Toms River. So, you know, I did a lot of driving that day. I think total miles, would say I had a full tank of gas. When I got home, I was down to a quarter of a tank. I think I drove about 300 miles that day. Yeah, it was around 300. I think it was maybe a little bit over 300, but it was a 300-mile range that I did. And I'll tell you what, this car did perfect. I mean, it drove so well. Was doing 80 on the parkway, no problem. Where the guy was located, he was located like a really like hilly area. So I was climbing up some like steep hills with it after I was like driving it for hours. Nothing overheated on it, no noises, didn't act weird. Nothing, absolutely nothing. This car drove absolutely flawlessly. And you know, this thing has 125,000 miles on it. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you think about what these cars are used for and what they go through, I mean, 125,000 miles is kind of a bit. Even though maybe this car wasn't a typical squad car, like it wasn't beat up like the other ones, I mean, I'm sure it was used harder than, you know, other cars would be used. You know what I mean? I don't care what it was used for. You know, any town car, municipality car, they're gonna somewhat beat them up a little bit. I mean, I don't care who's driving. Even if like the mayor's driving, if the mayor was given a car, I'm sure he would beat up on it a little bit because, you know, they don't have to maintain them, they don't have to repair them. So, no matter who usually gets the car, it usually ends up getting neglected to some point. You know, maybe not neglected, but abused at some point. But I mean, this car drove so perfect. I don't know. I can't say anything bad about it. I don't know. Just looking at it right now, I don't know. I think it is one of the greatest cars ever made. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to really say about it. But it honestly is just they're just such great cars. Like even my friend, he, you know, he's not really like a big, you know, Ford guy or anything. He's mainly in the like Japanese cars. And when we went to the YouTube call out in Maryland, we took my car. I drove there and he drove back, and as he was driving it back, he's like, "Oh, he's like, I actually really like this car." He's like, "I like the way he drives. Like, it feels good." You know, and he's not even really like a Ford guy. I mean, yeah, he does. He likes like Mustang, stuff like that. Like he does, you know, he doesn't like hate really on any car. I mean, obviously there's cars that he dislikes, you know, that other people would like, well, whatever. But he, you know, this isn't really his type of car. It's not like he'd ever go out and go buy one, but, you know, he did say it was a really nice driving car. You know, and it is. When you get in these cars, they really drive like nothing else. They're really great cars. So, I mean, if you go on websites, you know, top, you know, best cars of all time, or, you know, cars that refuse to die, or whatever, you'll be surprised. There's been a couple times the Crown Vic has been mentioned in, you know, lists for cars that refuse to die, or, you know, some of the greatest cars ever made. And they're iconic too. That's another thing I forgot to mention. You know, these cars are iconic. You watch any movie, TV shows, you name it. I mean, it depending on where, obviously, like if it's a movie like in like the countryside or something, you know, and it's about like some, you know, little old lady like knitting a sweater, you're probably not gonna see a Crown Vic in the movie. But if there's like cops, or like you're in like the city with like cabs and stuff, you're gonna see a Crown Vic. I mean, that's just how it is. You're gonna see one. I mean, these cars are just so iconic. I mean, you got to think, this car was, the last year they made these was 2011, at least in US. I think Canada was 2012, but, you know, 2011 for US. And to this day, when I drive this car, I mean, people still move out of my way because they think it's a cop car. You know, and they haven't made these cars in years, and they still are like feared by people. You know, these cars are they're just iconic, you know, like, I don't know, they're just an overall really great car. Even like the roominess, like, I don't know, they're just nice and roomy back here. Plenty of, you can fit 5 people in here, 2 up front, 3 in the back. I've had 5 people in here. I don't know why that's so muddy. Where the hell did all this come from? I don't even remember. I don't know why that's back there, but okay, whatever. Don't know how that mud got there. But I don't know, they're just so, I don't know, they're just great. They really are. It's really a shame that Ford discontinued them. But I don't know, this video is kind of dragging on. I've been going on for a while here. But I guess that's it. That's it pretty much for this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.